Hey everybody, One of Wisdom here right before 4 a.m. Wednesday, December 11th. Just introduced Slobber Tooth, one of these Skylanders I was very excited about. I nearly ripped the mic out of the computer there. Got all that taken care of. Good news here, unlike having to dig for Slobber Tooth, which was an adventure in itself, buried deep within the collection in a Power A case, I have actually got Dark Slobber Tooth here handy. Why? Because we have used him in the playthrough. That said, let's come in. Box stock, nothing done here at all. I'm just standing here so you can kind of see the coloring on Slobber Tooth. Gonna go now, pull Mr. Slobber Tooth, set him down on top of the Power A case, and stick Dark Slobber Tooth on the portal. Alright, as you can see, he's got a hat, very aggressive, Dark Slobber Tooth special. You can see there he's level 5, and then we've got the plus 30 bonus on health for Wednesday. Can't remember what that hat does to him, but you get the feel there. Obviously you can clearly see the silver and then the dark color as opposed to the green. Haven't done any upgrades to him, he's still completely box stock. Primary attack, Y button's kind of that head swipe, you see 35 damage, and then Chuck and Chomp is the secondary with 40. Don't have anything else there to showcase to you. So let's come in here and actually take a look at his stats.
I need to crunch these numbers.
So he's sitting at 450. Obviously a lot of that's level 5. Then he's got plus 30 for Wednesday, and then I guess that hat is plus 10 max health and plus 10 elemental power. That said, what you do need to know, Dark Slobber Tooth, just like Slobber Tooth, begins with a max health of 300. So kind of disappointing to me that the dark characters didn't have some stat boost. I wouldn't want it in health, but like armor or critical hit would have been awesome. Same numbers, so if you're devastated you missed out on these, you can't justify buying the existing 360 or Wii starter packs just to get your, Slobber Tooth and Spyro fix or Dark fix. You're not missing, increased stats or anything. So his speed 35, armor 30. Note that giant void there with no blue. That's because he's going to get a massive bump there. 2 critical hit, and then elemental power 45. That of course being skewed slightly by the plus 10 on the hat. That said, let's go ahead back out of here. We're going to take a look at his upgrades. Same thing exactly as Slobber Tooth, but like I said, I realize some of you aren't going to look for Slobber Tooth videos. You're just going to want to see a Dark Slobber Tooth introduction or run through. That's why I'm making them, and standalone videos at that. Before we do that, slogan, clobber and slobber, I guess we can kind of skim his bio for you. Having been asleep for thousands of years, Slobber Tooth was awakened by the fiery eruption of 2 volcanic islands crashing together. As I read this, I remember I said I was going to go into the collections and read this with that on the screen for you. My apologies there. I will try to do that in the next video. That said, immediately sought out by Chaos to become one of his minions, Slobber Tooth was promised great power. The gruff and headstrong fighter chose to follow his own path instead. For this, Chaos attacked his ancient, petrified homeland. As the only one who could protect his hibernating race, Slobber Tooth fought, literally, tooth and tail against Chaos and his minions, ultimately driving them away. For his heroism, none other than who? Master Eon asked Slobber Tooth to join the Skylanders so he could continue defending Skylands against the evil, wicked, corrupt, sinister Chaos. So, pretty cool backstory there, pretty cool base numbers for this horn swipe. Press Y to perform a head swipe that damages nearby enemies. Note that they say head right here. If you look at the Soul Gem, which we'll cover here in just a second, Iron Jaw actually upgrades all head attacks, so I'm thinking it will upgrade not only Horn Swipe and then the first purchased one, Unstoppable Force, but then also possibly Chomp and Chuck. So we'll have to, obviously get all the upgrades to investigate that fully, but we will find out. Speaking of that, Chomp and Chuck, that's his secondary attack. Press A to grab enemies with a slobbery mouth. That's basically 40 damage there. Press A again to spit them out. Now, first purchased upgrade, Unstoppable Force. Press Y, that'll be his Hold Y, I'm sorry. That's the primary button, of course. Hold Y to charge forward a short distance with a powerful headbutt attack. That's really piqued my interest. I'm excited to see what that's about. Tough Hide. This is huge. This isn't the Soul Gem, and it isn't tied in with any path, and I'm expecting a full-on armor increase, much like we've seen in the previous games. Gain bonus armor, skin as tough as nails, and rocks mixed together, which is awesome. Now we get his tertiary attack when we get Shockwave. Press X to do a tail slam on the ground, damaging all enemies nearby. Final purchased upgrade is Loogie. Press A after holding an enemy with a chomp attack to spit them out and deal increased damage. Again, hadn't heard that one in a while. Kind of gives light onto the ages of the people that created this character. Probably in my age bracket, so pretty cool little background there. Now, you get to the point you have to pick a path. You've got two choices here. You can address either, and this is kind of an interesting aspect, secondary attack with the Food Fighter or the top path here, or the tertiary attack on the Seismic Tail. So we're going to go ahead and cover Food Fighter first. It's this top path. It begins with Snot Rocket. Enemies hit with a spit attack will be covered in goo and take damage over time. Following that up is Om Nom Nom. Press A to eat enemies. I wish there was heat here. I'm starting to freeze. Enemies being eaten will give more health back after a short time. This is another big deal, and it's awesome that it's not separated from the armor, having the armor tied in with the other path or something. This is akin to what you see with Camo, Stump Smash, Stealth Elf. Big hitter Skylanders have this ability, and now he does too. Gonna be a very, very key attribute maybe when you're playing Nightmare mode or having trouble with a certain area trying to complete the dare of not losing a Skylander. It's characters like him, Thornhorn Camo when he's out and you get his Soul Gem, Ninja Stealth Elf. These are the type of characters that can really take you to the next level there. Final one, and this is really interesting to me. It's reminiscent, obviously, of Jetvac, since he's really the only character with suction abilities that I'm aware of at this point. Hold A to pull enemies into a chomping mouth attack. Really, really interesting stuff here on the top path. Now, if that's not your thing, or you happen to have an extra Slobber Tooth, maybe the Dark Slobber Tooth, you can go with the Seismic Tail path. Obviously, you're thinking Bash. Close, but different, and here's how. Begins with Fling. Press X to do a tail slam on the ground. Press X again to fling all nearby enemies into the air. I said in the Slobber Tooth intro video, this is basically like you're turning the ground they stand on into a trampoline, and that is awesome. Coming up next, Weight Gain. Gain a new spiky tail, causing shockwave attacks to do increased damage. Probably going to flip them higher in the ground too, so in the air, if you will. And then it is finished up with Earthshaker. Hold X to continue tail slamming the ground, causing waves of rocks to spread out and damage enemies in the way. This again to me is kind of reminiscent of like Crusher's Hammer, whenever it hits the ground and it sends out the shock waves and you get the razors and everything going. So this would be a really tough choice between Food Fighter and Seismic Tail. I think what most people would pick is probably Seismic Tail. It'll be familiar to them with Bash. It's probably going to deal more damage. However, Food Fighter, very interesting in that you get new abilities and you can regenerate some health. For me, thanks to having Dark Slobber Tooth here, I just have to kind of figure out which character I want to take down which path. Great news for you, I get to showcase those to you. So if you're having trouble or you think, hey, took Food Fighter, kind of wondering about Seismic Tail, I'll get to showcase the differences to you, and so that's going to be very cool. Now, the Soul Gem, which you can get regardless of the path, Iron Jaw. Gain an Iron Jaw, causing all head attacks, again this is what I alluded to earlier, to deal increased damage. To me, head attack is of course basic, your primary, which is Horn Swipe. Unstoppable Force is first purchased one, and then Chomp and Chuck very well could be considered a head attack. we'll just kind of have to get all these and see. Not 100% sure there, but we can hope for that. So that said, we're going to back out of here, take a look at his quests. Wow, we've already done one of them. We'll get to that here in a second. The one we've done is one that I feel like should just have a standard trophy. I'll tell you here in a second. Bad Guy Basher, defeat 1,000 enemies. We've defeated 60, and we've completed that quest. So that should tell you something. Fruit Frontiersman, eat 15 fruits in story levels or arenas. Really no-brainer there. Flawless Challenger, complete a non-story mode level with full health. True Gladiator, win 10 PvP matches. Totally maxed out. I'm a big fan of this one. If you don't like Slobber Tooth's base attacks, or you didn't like Unstoppable Force and Loogie, this makes you take a path and get the Soul Gem and then make your judgment on the character. Right here, Elementalist costs 7,500 elemental bonus damage. He's knocked that thing out of the park, so props on him for that. Savior of the Land. This is a true Earth specific, these final three. Last one, of course, being specific to Slobber Tooth. Savior of the Land. Free the Terror Squid in twisty tunnels without switching Skylanders and the tongue twister riddle that is the 4 a.m. character introduction. We've got Unearther, use shovels to dig a total of 25 holes. Hadn't gotten to that point in the game. When I introduced Washbuckler, I was like, what the heck are they talking about? Catch 25 fish with a fishing pole? I'm assuming there's going to be some part in the level or maybe theme in the game later on where we have to dig. So when you do that, even if you're in like a fire or a tech area, just remember, hey, I'm going to bust out my Earth character, get this quest taken care of. Now, specific to Dark Slobber Tooth in general, hungry like a hippo, swallow 25 enemies. As you can see, he's already knocked that out 4 times. Nothing too crazy there. I don't think we'll have too much trouble with that. That said, I believe that is everything on Dark Slobber Tooth. Again, if you need more information, check out the video preceding this one, which was the introduction of Slobber Tooth. I'm a big fan, again, of the Earth element. I am particularly fond of Slobber Tooth at this point in time. Dark Slobber Tooth, really, because I've used him. And I did that to keep Slobber Tooth in standard level 1 type form for the stats and the introductions for you. So that said, he is shaping up to be a very, not only powerful, but also unique character. He's going to have the seismic tail. We really hadn't seen anything like that where it's 3 set upgrade is going to kind of address things there. He gets armor in the base upgrades. That's huge. And then you've got the Food Fighter path where he can actually regenerate health. We haven't seen that for an Earth Skylander, at least at this point in time. Bear in mind, this is a blind playthrough. Scorp has yet to be on my Portal of Power here for you. So, granted, I've used him actually in the 3DS version, but it's kind of like different parameters there. So, that said, the future is wide open for Slobber Tooth. I'm excited to see how he upgrades. That said, we have pretty well covered everything here. Headset's wanting to fall off my head. Let me see what I have written down here. My official plan now. Okay, at this point in time, we covered obviously the console starter pack, the base one, 3 characters, Ninja Stealth Elf, Washbuckler, Blast Zone. Now, by introducing Dark Spyro and Dark Slobber Tooth, and then of course their standard counterparts, just because it makes sense to do those, at the same time. We've covered the Dark Edition starter pack. As promised, we're going to venture off into the 3DS starter pack. The character I'm going to introduce next, there he is, on a shoebox filled with giants, so I won't look like an idiot and tell you I can't find him. We have got Volcanic Eruptor, the 3DS special, following suit, of course, SSA. We had the original Dark Spyro, Giants 3DS. We had Punch Pop Fizz. Now Swap Force 3DS. We've got Volcanic Eruptor. Going to introduce him. Then, of course, I'm going to follow that up with his standard counterpart, which I think is on the pool table. I'll have to grab him after this recording. Lava Barf Eruptor. That'll get us into the 3DS starter pack. Then I'm going to introduce Rattleshake. He's standalone right now. There will be Quick Draw at some point, assuming Frito ships that. Given the debacle that was their entire promotion there, that may not happen. More on that at some point in the future. Then we'll do Free Ranger, the other character in the 3DS starter pack. That's how I'll get into the legendaries. We'll chain off of that. Might get Night Shift mixed in and Zulu. We'll kind of see how it goes. Then I'll do the rest of the special characters. We'll do the Adventure Pack, the Battle Pack, the Swappers, Newlanders, Series 2, Series 3, try to catch up. So that kind of gives you an idea what to expect. But again, coming up next will be Volcanic Eruptor. It'll be his first time on the portal here on the console version. So stay tuned for that. As always, thanks for watching. You can follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, circle me on Google+, whichever you prefer. Again, make sure to check out the blog, oneofwisdom.com. Tons of information there for you. Again, thanks for watching, and I will see you when we heat things up with Volcanic Eruptor.